Hello, friends. I just want to take you through an example of doing some inline data analysis with Copilot and Gemini, which are probably the two most popular LLMs that you can use that integrate with other applications, for example, Office 365 or the Google Suite. And the reason I'm showing you this is because mostly people at the moment are tending to interact with AI through dedicated chatbot interfaces. So using ChatGPT or using Claude or one of the myriad of other tools. And what I wanted to highlight is that actually applications like Excel and Google Sheets have much tighter integration into those models now, which enable you to do some really quite interesting analysis without you having to upload a document to ChatGPT and what have you. So what I'm going to do very quickly is to show you how you might do some form of data analysis. So in this instance, it's based upon a real example. I needed to do some sentiment analysis of some data from Trustpilot. And obviously, Trustpilot has a rating. And what I was interested in understanding was the comment itself aligned to the rating that was given. So if someone rated it a 1, was it really a bad experience or not? So that's the insight I'm after. Rather than use real customer data, what we'll do is we'll use two prompts. So the first prompt will create a set of data for us. The second prompt will update the table to give us a sentiment analysis. Let's go into Excel first. So just so you know, to use Copilot inside Excel, you obviously need to turn the tool on, usually up in the top right-hand corner. I think this is dependent on your subscription level, so you'll need to check with your IT teams about that. But also you need to make sure that autosave is on. So that means that the document that you're creating has to be saved into OneDrive or SharePoint or something. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've already got my prompts because I've done this like 100 times just to stop all the bad spelling errors and stuff. So my first prompt is I would like to create a sample data set. I'd like to create a sample data set showing client reviews of a financial services company. You should include only the following columns: data review, name of reviewer, a rating, which is a Likert scale, and then a review paragraph of text with an example review. And then I've asked it, so the reviews I've said, can these be good, bad, and neutral? And please create 10 rows of data. So you can see what's happened here on the right-hand side is it's created a whole set of data. So you can literally just insert that into a new sheet. We've got our data here, which is great. We've got some names, got some ratings, and here are some good service, not satisfied. So we've got some reviews there. So the next thing I want to do is I want to add a new column in column E, and I want to analyze the sentiment of the data in the review. So the prompt that I've got for that is, and I won't press enter this time, I want to understand the sentiment of the review data, column D. Can you please update column E with a sentiment rating, good, bad, or neutral from the data in column D? So I'm just being explicit there. So let's do that. Now, the thing that I like about Copilot is it obviously does its analysis, takes a little bit of time. You can see that the range that it's working on because it's got this sort of rainbow hue over the data. What I like here is that the first thing it does is it tells you, it gives you a definition for how it's applied good, bad, or neutral sentiment. And then you get this ability to add a column. So if you if you hover over that up in the main window there, a new column is being added, which is entitled theme. You can then see that, like, this is a good sentiment, this is a neutral sentiment, the service was okay, but the response time could be improved. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great. But you can see how using Copilot embedded in Excel, you are able to do that data analysis without uploading documents via ChatGPT. So let's try and do the same thing in Google Sheets. Now, I'm going to be upfront here. I've run this in Google Sheets many times. So much so that because I'm using the alpha version or the alpha features in Gemini, it's giving me these gems. So gems are predefined prompts that you can use. And using Gemini like this, I've had a very bad response. But let's do it. But there is another way, which I will explain in a minute, which I've had good response on. Let's start again. So exactly the same prompts. I found that with Gemini, I had to be very explicit by saying you should include only the following columns, because it used to add a whole bunch of additional columns for me, which were deeply frustrating. Okay, you can see here that because of where I put my, let's discard that a second, because of where I put my highlighted cell, it added the table in the middle of the screen. So if I do insert, so you can see here, I've got data review, name of reviewer, like art scale again, and I've got the paragraph of text, which is exactly what I want. So what I'm going to do now is use the next prompt to see if we can get a sentiment analysis. So it's exactly the same prompt as we used for Copilot. So I want to understand the sentiment of the review data in column D. Let's just do that. Can you update column E with a sentiment rating, good, bad, or neutral from the data in column D? So let's run that. Okay, so that's analyzing now. So you see that it's telling you that it's looking across the whole table. And this is exactly what's been happening every time that I do this. It will give me a graph, it will give me some source code to run. It always gives me a takeaway about what's good or bad, but I've yet to make it give me a new column into this table. It just hasn't worked for me. Now, what you can do, however, is in the Google Gemini Alpha version, they have this new formula that you can write, which is called an AI formula. And this is actually really quite amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in that last prompt. So this is about the sentiment analysis. So I want to understand the sentiment of the review data. So I'm going to remove column D from there, because in a minute you will add a range. So we're going to add column D as a range. Can you, because also I don't need to reference column E because I'm in there. So I'm saying, can you provide sentiment rating, good, bad, or neutral? And then I'm going to say the range, I'm going to say I want it to be column D. So in this case, it's D2. Now I'm going to do this on one column first, and then what we'll do is we'll copy it down, because what you don't want is to execute on every column, because it's just going to be a pain. So let's run that. Click on here, and then you get this little action that will generate and insert the data. So there we are. So we got a good response. And then what I can then do is move that down. I can then run this. Oh, hold on. I just generate an insert on there. You can run these. There is a way of doing it. There we are. If you select them, generate an insert. And then what that would do is that will run through. So actually, although the embedded chatbot version of Gemini in the spreadsheet is really poor, I found consistently poor, the AI function in line is actually gives me a much better result. It's quite slow, but actually you get the outcome that you want. So hopefully this has given you a good example of how you can use the inline tools that is available to you in Copilot and Gemini to do some of the data analytics that you might need to do on a daily basis. Please provide any comments or drop me any feedback below, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.